and welcome to the first episode of a new show I'm trying called The Comics We Love. So this was kind of 3 years in the making. This was supposed to be a book club. I had some trouble in my personal life, and I'm trying to make right after 3 years. We've been joking about doing this episode. Well, it was seriously going to happen, but things went sideways, and then this idea came about 2 months ago, maybe 3. There was all this stuff going on with Black Flag Comics, and the speculator shit started going on, and John's Comics was like, we should start talking about the comics we love, just to kind of get things back right with the community. So I started a hashtag. John jumped in. There was a couple of other people in the community that jumped in talking about the comics we love using the hashtag. Sweet. So starting this, there was no person I wanted to start with more than Gambit, because there are 2 characters he probably loves more than anything else, and Lobo is one of those characters.
So yeah, you could say that.
I am weird. Like, my first time finding Lobo was in Legion, because I had a friend who was like super into Legion.
Yeah.
And you being in Puerto Rico, like, when was your first time finding him?
All right, so I knew about the character through the trading cards first, the DC Comics trading cards. That's the first time I heard about the character. I always thought it was weird that he was named Lobo. It's like, it doesn't look like a wolf. Why would you call him Lobo?
Yeah. Weirdly, no. Like, I had that same thing. I was like, why are they calling him Lobo? Other than he's kind of mean and he's got fangs.
right. That's the only
thing.
So,
there's a story behind this. I was looking up today that Keith Giffen and the other guy in Omega Men were sick of Punisher and Wolverine.
Yes.
So they created this guy in an orange leotard and who had hair that looked like a cotton swab.
Dude, if you look for that Gene Simmons movie where where he controls metal spiders or something like that. Yes, he looks like he has the same haircut as Gene Simmons has in that movie. So it's like, yeah, let's make him look like Gene Simmons.
And it was a joke that went wrong on them, because completely, I'm reading this and Keith Giffen's like, I don't understand what happened. Like, it just got a life of its own. Like, this was a joke that went wrong.
Yes. I'm sorry. I'm trying to fix my my camera here because I have not turned this on in a few weeks and it's all over the place. So I did know that oh my God, I should have turned that camera off while I was doing that. Anyway, so I did know that it started as a parody of those ultra violent characters, like
so 1983, and then he just hung in limbo for a while. Like, he was a villain, and then he got more and more of like a parody of the 90s trend towards grim and gritty. And I'm trying to find the quote here by I'll find it later, but later on he got the bike. Simon Bisley started to get his, I think though in Legion he started getting the biker look. He started getting the longer hair.
Yes. He got a bunch of those issues that I didn't have yet.
And he became, I guess, DC, like, so there was a problem in the 90s where if one of the comic companies got a popular character, you were going to see them in every book, even if they belonged or didn't belong. Like, we had Lobo versus Etrigan the Demon, but that kind of worked because they're 2 weird characters.
Yes, and they were both written at the time when the Lobo series was published. It was written by Alan Grant, which was, I think, the writer.
Grant and Giffen wrote the Lobo series.
And no, I'm talking about the regular series. The miniseries and not the miniseries, the one that he has a shiny cover.
Yeah.
And he goes like, "Here's your shiny cover." I love that cover so much.
Was that the one with the shiny hook?
No, it was the belt buckle, and his junk was shiny and chrome.
They gave him a cod piece.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for. I love that cover. I love that cover so much. So the first time I saw the character was in the trading card, and I thought it was odd. I think in the trading card, Jesus Christ, he was already sporting the biker look. I thought it looked cool. I was like,
Yeah,
pretty cool. It's like he looks really cool. I want to know more about this character that looks metal as fuck. But I always thought it was weird that he was named Lobo. And I didn't ask when I met Giffen. I didn't ask him why they named him Lobo. I should have asked
it was
that.
because of Wolverine. Because it was an animal name.
Yes, it's obvious, Gambit, obvious. Let me show you something I got here.
Stan Lee, yes. You also dressed up with him in Capullo Remembers You.
Oh yeah, every time I go to a convention, he's like, "Oh, the main man," and that's all I need for the rest of my weekend when I see him.
Stan Lee, before his passing, had mentioned that Lobo was the one character that he wished Marvel had gotten.
I can see this character being a Marvel character,
but at the same time, I feel it would have been too much of a Marvel character at the time because he was different and new in DC because DC didn't have anything like that, where Marvel had so many grim and gritty characters at the time.
Something that I like, one of the things that I liked about when I finally actually got my hands in comics, Lobo comics, was that it was pretty out there.
Didn't take itself seriously at all.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, and I thought it was funny. I didn't appreciate that much at the time, but at the same time, it was the one thing that that's what I was appealing about it, that it was out there. It was, and some of the art, and I'm sorry I'm going to say this, but I was young and stupid, okay? And some of the art now I see it and I go like, oh my god, that looks so fucking sick. But back then it was like, oh my god, who draw this? I can draw better than that. I couldn't draw better than that.
Bisley's weird. Or now. So Simon Bisley, like, you look at his covers and you're like, it's fucking amazing. And then when you're off that glossy cover and into the interiors of that day, which were on that poorer paper, you're just like, oh man, like, why can't this be more like the cover? And it's like, dummy, like.
Yes. So it at times it felt, and I think still when I go through those old books, they feel like I'm opening a Mad magazine, or one of these magazines that have really 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 gross and grotesque sense of humor, but
yes,
but dialed down just enough to be able to be published by DC Comics.
Very much so. And like we were talking about the art, so we were in a weird time of like spoiled, because like you can go back into the Detective Comics, McFarlane's first published work almost for Big 2, and his Batman, like, because of the paper and the way the inks bled in, it's McFarlane's art, but it just looks muddy and not crisp. And then you look like a few years later when he's doing Spider-Man on that newer paper, and it's like, oh, this is what it's supposed to look like. And George Perez was one of the first who like fought to have that better paper on Teen Titans, which is why we paid that premium of like $1.25 at the time, which I used to be like, $1.25, God, like breaking me.
I remember that when they started to raise the prices, it was like, holy shit, $1.25 a book, and I'm reading 4 books now. How can I afford the
I want to go back
$5 a month that I'm gonna spend in comic books?
I want to go back and find like that me at the 7-Eleven at the spinner. I could be like, dude, it's gonna get worse. Like, right? It's gonna get so much worse.
Right? Go like, huh? This is now. Wait until you're 35.
By the way, you're gonna be buying 20 books a month at some point.
Dude, holy shit. So I put all my books that I have that I haven't read this year. I started to catch up on my reading, and I'm still reading Inferno from X-Men. Like I just finished the Trial of Magneto, and and started, and I'm like halfway through Inferno. That's how far I am, and I'm reading everything: X-Men, Thor, the Cimmerian. I was what else am I reading? I'm reading something else, and I forgot what else am I reading. But yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, I'm constantly like I'm almost up to 3 weeks ago.
Dude, that's amazing. I'm still a year ago. I'm legit. The last issue that I read was published in December last year.
Um, so Lobo is a character I think DC got smart with now that they gave him a break and they only bring him out for special things like Death Metal was probably the
Yes.
last time they brought him out, and he had that against the Frazetta Batman they called him in it.
Yeah. The Frazetta. Oh, I can't wait for a figure of that to come out.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yes, I love that page. I love that issue so much. It's like, oh, two of my favorite things together: Frank Frazetta and Lobo and Batman. Three of my favorite things together.
Yeah. We also got the faux Lobo, which wasn't bad. It just wasn't Lobo.
Oh, the one from okay. So the cool thing about one of the things that I like about the character is that the character lends itself pretty well to, since it's so out there, you can do pretty much whatever you want with this character and it can work. Like the Looney Tunes Lobo, the Roadrunner Lobo issue.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. It's one of the best things I read that year, and it's super funny and it works because the character, you can put him in a wacky, silly, cartoony situation, or you could put him in a more serious take, and it'll work. But what I think happened with that 2013 series, which I talked so much shit about it before it came out, just based on the looks of the characters, because I hated it. I hated it so much. Like, no, why? And the designer, I think it was Kenneth Rocafort. He's from Puerto Rico too, so it was like, I hate it because it was someone that I know, that did the drawing, and it's a cool drawing, but that's not Lobo. And then I read the first issue, and I was surprised that it was actually a fun book to read. It's a different character though.
Yeah, they made that clear near the end that it's
a completely different character. So after that series got canceled, and then that's more or less at the time was when I moved from Puerto Rico to here, so I stopped buying comics for a little bit. So I don't know what happened with that character. I know that at the end of that series he was raging, and he looked like the Lobo that we remember. He was in a rage, and he was like bigger and hairier and more of a savage. And next thing I know, the Suicide Squad Justice League crossover was coming out, and our good old Lobo was there.
We also got the privilege of interviewing the writer of that, Steve Orlando, who did.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, and he talked about how he wasn't thrilled to have Lobo in the group. That like DC kind of was like, "Hey, you're putting him in this," and a little bit of the behind the scenes stuff of like, "Hey, I wrote this. Guess what? You're getting this." But he had said, like, by the time he started getting into the character, he liked writing him.
Yeah.
So I feel like some of it you don't like it because you read older stuff because he's from the 90s too, so he's read all the 90s stuff, and some of it's absurd, and the character was beaten to death, like overkill. So he found a voice where Batman had leverage on him, and like Lobo's getting pissed, like constantly, like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Like,
I after that, yeah, that series lasted what, 25 issues?
About that, roughly, yeah.
Yeah, about 25 issues. I was sad that it was canceled because we don't get much of him now. We got him in the mini series with Crush. That was a fun mini series. And the one with Superman. That one was a little bit disappointing, not gonna lie. But it has the main man.
So what's weird is when I read Lobo now, the voice I hear is the one that was in Superman the Animated Series.
Yes. Oh yeah, definitely.
That is the voice of him I hear in my head when I read him now, which those episodes where Lobo showed up are great.
Yes. I like the episodes where Superman is dead and he's coming in to replace him.
Yes.
Has a red bandana on his head.
So I thought one of the good things about Lobo is he's kind of multifunctional. You can kind of throw him into anything, and he has this weird twisted code. Superman 2. Which Superman 2 are we talking about?
Yes. It's funny that we have to ask that, right?
Because if it's the Lobo Superman
issue
2,
I mean, there's like 3 issues in that miniseries, right?
Yeah, it was okay. Like the first issue I liked, I thought was really fun, and it kind of started going a little downhill for me.
Yes, I haven't been able to read the 3rd issue. I haven't.
The 3 people in black attire.
Oh, that's
the movie.
Yeah, that's the movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
Superman
Kneel before Sun.
There is a great backstory of that movie and everything that went on with it. The Donner cut probably is the way to watch it, but Terrence Stamp's Zod was cool. But Man of Steel Zod looked like a real threat.
Yes, that one.
He's not an old man already.
Scary. Yeah.
So I would have loved, maybe they'll get to it in this new DC universe that James Gunn's doing. So if the rumors are true that Lobo might be Momoa now,
I hope so. That'll be amazing. Holy shit.
If we can get that Lobo Superman,
that would be cool.
Movie, like.
So that's when I started to fall in love with the characters, because back then, I have a very limited budget, and I was reading Uncanny X-Men and X-Men because that's what you read back then. Uncanny X-Men and X-Men,
McFarlane Spider-Man.
Yeah, McFarlane Spider-Man. If you could afford an extra issue, you would buy McFarlane Spider-Man. But all I was reading was Uncanny X-Men and X-Men. That's it. That's all I could afford. But I have friends that read Lobo, and I started liking it after the death of Superman, when he showed up in that Man of Steel, Superman the Man of Steel number 30. It came with stickers that you could change in the cover and have them fight, and he came from outer space to test to see if the Man of Steel was the actual Man of Steel, and they fight a little bit. I was like, kind of like this a little bit more. So I asked my friend to let me read some of his issues, and I was like, man, I wish I could get more of these books. And it wasn't until like recently that I was able, as recently as when I moved here, that I was able to start getting these issues and be able to collect Lobo as I wanted to.
I had a friend who was reading Legion. He's like, yeah, there's this character Lobo and Viral Dox, who's like a clone of Brainiac. He neutered him so that way his blood couldn't create these clones of him because he was way too overpowered. So DC, and he's explaining to me, I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, he can regenerate from a single drop of blood.
Yeah, so I started kind of going through and reading it, and I was like, okay, like there's a very hateful relationship here. Lobo has this code when he gives his word.
Yeah,
his word is bond.
Yeah. That's it. That's all he has,
And it was one of those things, like the more you read, Lazarinian is in particular one where they really dove into his code, which as a limited series probably is a great one to start with because it explains a lot, especially like the backstory of what Lobo did on his planet.
Yes, so I think that's like the reboot of the character. That's when he started to that. Like, okay, let's make something out of this dude, and they start releasing miniseries, and I think he works best in one shots and miniseries.
Yes,
I don't think he's a character that you can read monthly because you're gonna run out of things to do with the character. You have to have him as a second, like in the Justice League. America it worked for that long because he had other characters that that you have more things to be able to write about. But having him be the sole character for a whole series, I it gets a little bit like.
See, now there's a character I would love to see Mark Miller and Greg Capullo get their hands on as a team on, because I think it could get really fucking weird.
You know, I didn't think of that, but I think that's the dream team. I think I think that would be great. Like you put these two together. Oh no.
The Superman TV series with Dean Cain. There was two, because I think he was in Supergirl, but the Lois and Clark one was like it was okay for the time. I did
I
watch a
never
couple
saw
of
that.
episodes of Krypton, and I thought it was pretty good. And I watched the Lobo episodes.
I haven't. Was it good?
I thought the makeup was good enough for TV.
Yeah. I saw the pictures. You know what I like about that version is that it looks like I can cosplay him. You know.
Yeah, I wanted him to have more of a raspy voice,
Okay.
like to sound like Ron Perlman.
Yeah. He needs that rusty voice. I mean, you cannot
Yeah,
have this dude smoking cigars all day, every day, you know, and not have a raspy voice.
because Jason Momoa has that voice of
Yes.
all right.
Yeah. So he has the size, he has the voice, and he already has the look. You know, it's perfect. Like he would be perfect. Yes. Smallville
Yeah,
was
Smallville very much was a Superman prequel just made for CW with a bunch of hot girls and guys.
It was good though.
The first couple of seasons were good, and then it started getting weird. Then they started bringing in all the other heroes, and I was like, okay,
I like it until season 4. After season 4, I watched it because it was cool. I wanted to see what it was where it was going, and I was disappointed by the end. But let's not talk about that. We're here to talk about the main man, Lobo.
I would love to see Last Arenian turned into an animated movie.
That would be cool.
DC.
There's a. Did you see the Superman movie that came out not long ago with Lobo in it? With the dude that plays Opie in the
from Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah. I have a picture of Lobo signed by him.
I didn't see that one.
Oh wow. Well, I can't find it right now. It's back there and it's dark. But
maybe it's on HBO Max.
It's I think it is. Yeah. It's a recent. So after the death of Superman in the animated movies, they kind of do the animation style, and it looks like Adam Kubert's style of art animated, and it looks really fucking cool. And it has a Lobo and Martian Manhunter, and Lobo. It's really cool. I check it out. Like it's worth it.
So I think one of probably the first issues of Lobo I went out and bought, and it's the most absurd, and this is the time of season for it. Lobo's Paramilitary Christmas.
Special.
Yes. It was a one shot. And the Easter Bunny hires Lobo to kill Santa Claus because he's getting too big. We find out Santa Claus is basically a warlord where he is like they have the elves and they're like subjugated and they're like, let's form a union, like want your lips cut off.
Yeah. Santa's not a nice guy, you know. He's not a nice guy. Let me see let me look for that panel. You know, there's a movie of this on YouTube.
Is there?
Yes, look it up. There's a short film. I think it's fan made. There's a short film of Lobo paramilitary Christmas special. Yes, look at him.
Yes. He's like a pit boss, and then like
yeah.
He challenges Lobo to a knife fight.
Oh, and they have a really nasty knife fight.
Yes. And also Santa Claus has a pet gorilla.
He has a pet gorilla.
Kong.
So when this wasn't the first Lobo comic that I read, but when I read this, I was used to reading the regular series from the 90s. That's all I had as a frame of reference. So although it was wacky, it wasn't as wacky as these things as these past first few issues from the military special and the Lobo's back and the last Sarnian one. Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. Anyway, so when I read this thing, I I I thought it was insane that this couple. It starts with this couple that has he lost his job, and it's 2 days before Christmas, and he lost his job, and they need
Goes
to.
upstairs and shoots the fucking
Yeah,
kids.
yeah, and he's going to go shoot the kids because he doesn't have money to get them gifts. But before people go like, oh my god, that's horrible, why are you laughing about that? Yes, it's a horrible situation, but the thing is that the kids will kill them. There's like 10 of them, and they're vicious little monsters. So it's not like it's like they're animals that you have to give them their offerings, otherwise they will kill you. So they were going to kill them before that happened, and they get a mysterious book, a mysterious book in front of the house. It never says when who dropped the book, why the book was dropped there. So it was a dude that, a family that was about to kill their kids, and this book said that if you read them this book, it has this like this first page.
Yeah.
It says no job, no money, no prospects, no
No
Christmas.
Christmas.
What can you do to prevent your death? Because it says so right there. The kids are going to kill you. Those kids are going to eat you alive. So if you read them the book, they will be, oh, this is the perfect Christmas gift. This story, woohoo! No, actually, it's like it'll teach them a lesson to not expect anything for Christmas or something like that. And they decided to do we wake up the kids, or do we read this story? Let's read it before, just in case we don't want to wake them and then they don't like it and then they're gonna kill us. So let's read it, and that's when the shit goes bunkers.
Lobo flies over. He kills Santa and sees the naughty list, and then loads his fucking sleigh up with bombs.
This bar scene, the movie that I'm telling you that's on YouTube. This bar scene, it's beautiful, beautiful, because you have this dude in a costume of the Easter Bunny, acting all drunk, like, fuck Santa, he's too big for his shit, like everybody is like his words. Let me see if I can quote it real
He's getting too
fast
big
here.
for his
yeah. It's getting too big, it's like basically hating on Christmas for what it is. It's oh man, I should have gotten a marker and marked it in green on the comic. So that, I'm joking, I'm not gonna do that to a comic.
Just do what Senia did with the little post-it notes.
I do a post-it note. Anyway, long story short, the dude hires Lobo to kill Santa because Santa's a fat bastard.
It's such a batshit crazy issue. Like, it's just everything is so weird, and then like Lobo's got his dog with him. Then we have the gorilla Kong that like immediately goes to Lobo's side and helps him, and then the reindeer are talking shit when Lobo goes in to tell them what they're gonna do. He kills one of them.
Oh, I like that the elves try to defend. When he goes into the into the factory where they're slaves. They're essentially slaves. They try to defend himself, and it's just pop guns.
Yeah. He also breaks in there with a Sears and Roebuck bomb, which is so dated. Sears and Roebuck. Like, the stuff doesn't exist. And again, Lobo is one of those absurd characters. And DC had a couple of those, like the Demon Etrigan for a while became that character for them where you just put him in absurd shit.
Yes.
Ambush Bug was another one who always was in weird stuff. Guy Gardner,
but
who ended up becoming friends with Lobo.
But I think that why the thing that made Lobo unique was that they could go ultra extra violent with him.
Yes.
And when I say they can go extra violent with him, is that
yeah.
This is where the light is coming. There it is. It's like, yeah, they could you wouldn't be able to read. It has a warning, that the the cool thing about these older issues is that they have warnings. Like this is not for kids. Also, it's humor. Chill. I like that almost every issue of these older miniseries had a letter page or something, and it was the writers saying like, "Guys, you need to, chill. It's a comic book. Relax." Because back then they got a lot of shit because of how violent it was. And they had to address that every time. So I guess not many things have changed since back then.
Well, the funny thing is, like, what we see now in the comics is 10 times worse than anything we saw back then, even in, like, the big two.
Even, yeah, and things like this. The thing that I always find that's Lobo walking like
Cha-cha-cha.
yeah. The thing is that it's so out there. This the violence in this series was so out there, and Beasley managed to capture it beautifully and keep it cartoony enough, that you see it and you go like, wow, that's insane. Instead of being shocked by the fact that this dude just killed a bunch of elves, you're like, that was funny, because
Yeah, it was very cartoony, like you said. Like, it's kind of like in movies, you can get away with not an R rating if you have green blood, but you can't have red blood. It's the stupidity of it, because no matter what they're bleeding, but because it's less human.
It's because it's less human. But basically, like these panels, like the expression on that, and these were the things that I appreciated about it. But at the same time, I didn't like it much because it was so, I didn't know how to appreciate it. Now I see it and I'm like, wow, this is beautiful. This is amazing,
So reading Paramilitary Christmas with Dog, I sat there, I was like, there's a pose in there that you just showed where Dog's basically doing the Muttley from the old Hanna-Barbera cartoons, where that little smile he's got, like, all it's missing is literally, that's what I see in my head when I look at that. It's Dick Dastardly and Muttley.
Oh, he's actually farting. Look.
Oh, that's why the smile. I missed that part.
Oh my god, I had not noticed about that until now. Fun thing about this character is that he has a metal chip. Sorry, a chip on his head, plain metal, 24/7, implanted in his head. It's like my headphones right now, like listening to Testament. And bro, do you imagine walking out there all day with that thing inside your brain, with no way of it shutting it down, no change of music? It's the most brutal metal you can find, in all of the universes. This dude been places, so it's not just earth metal. So I can only imagine the kind of noises that are playing on that shit and constantly.
And if his shuffle just keeps shuffling the same song, just keeps playing Mr. Crowley.
Mr. Crowley, Crazy Train, Mr. Crowley, Crazy Train, back to back.
I mean, for whom the bell tolls, like, by the fifth time, like, you say,
dude, by the fifth time, I would have changed it. You know what I like about this page, aside from everything, is that it reminds me of this other artist. His name is and I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing his name the wrong way, but he used to do the Robin book for DC. His name is I'm gonna look it up and I'm gonna read it properly, because I don't know how to pronounce it. The one that was, when he died and Batman went to Apocalypse to try to get his soul back. His name is Doug
Mankey.
There you go. Thank you. That's exactly the name I was looking for.
Drawn Batman Forever, and he did the Demon for a minute as well at one point.
Yes. So that page reminds me of his work for some reason a lot. So you can see some of that in his recent work.
And also, you can see Doug Mankey on Instagram lifting weights. He can squat a shit ton.
Oh shit! Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, no, like big rack, like that he's squatting. Like I'm sitting there going, all right,
I'm gonna have to look it up.
He's got some gains.
He posts a lot of Lobo stuff every once in a while. I tagged him last time. I put the cosplay on. I tagged him on the picture based on a drawing that he did. Look at this page. This is right after he cuts off Santa's head off after a brutal knife fight.
So at times I almost feel like this is proto South Park.
South Park.
I mean, just with the shit they've done with the deities and they did with Santa Claus and everything else.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I can see that. You know, now that you mention it, yes, I can see that. Think about the wildest thing that you can put this character in, and he will fucking be cool in it. You know,
because didn't they have him like die and then go to heaven and there was shit with that at one point?
Yes, that's Lobo's back. So he died.
Okay, yeah.
So he died, and hell didn't want him. You know, so he got sent back to heaven, and he, you know, made it difficult up there too. So he was like, "No, we don't want you here." So heaven doesn't want him. Hell doesn't want him. So they just sent him back to Earth, like to life. You know, it's like, no, we don't want to do anything with you. So yeah.
Also, what I love now, like because of the rumors of Momoa being Lobo, Omega Man 3 shot up again.
Oh yes. That is good news. I have like,
which it's interesting because the Lobo in that book is not like the Lobo,
right? Right. It's look, it's horrible, man.
It's more horrible. In line with the new 52 one.
Yes, it's more like that character than this character. That was something that I was gonna mention earlier about that other version of Lobo compared to the original one versus this version, which is, I'm surprised, not surprised, because it honestly doesn't surprise me that he has lasted this long. And I think part of it is because although he was very popular in the 90s, for a while there, you didn't see the character almost anywhere. And you can find merch, but he has a fan base, you know? There's people that are looking for his product because every time something comes out, you can't find it because it sells out. You know, it's
especially like the Hot Toys. Every time they've come out, because the Hot Toys, of course, are the best of the best. There's I think it's Diamond Select or DC Direct. There's one Lobo that comes with dog that
it came with a bike. It came with the bike.
There's two versions. Okay, there's one that's ungodly expensive. Those DC Direct toys right now.
Yeah. Oh, there's okay. So there's various. There's the original one that came in the 90s that it has like a dreadlocks, and then they did that same version that came with the bike, and it had the hair was more like in the Goku head, you know, Goku hair all spiky and up. That one's like $200 to find, and then DC did that version. I think that's the one that you're talking about. It's like this big. And I think that one does come with dog. That one I don't have. That one I couldn't find. But I have
also Lobo became a priest.
Yes, it's on issue 17 or something like that.
It was in 52, if I recall. 52?
Damn.
And no, the comic 52 because he had vowed nonviolence.
Yes. Oh no, yeah, but yes, but there's some issues on the other series there where he's dressed as a priest too, and he's praising, you know, it's like.
But if you fuck with his dolphins,
yes, the space dolphins
will break his vow.
The space dolphins, yes, don't mess with his space dolphins. That's a big no.
And it's weird because he's like this hyper violent guy who loves animals.
Dude, he loves animals. Don't mess with the animals. I get it. I can relate to that.
The only thing we're missing is like Lobo with a giant parakeet that's dressed like him. They didn't do that.
They have
Pirate
not.
Lobo.
They have not. No, but in the new 52, he's sporting like a pirate jacket, you know, and
yeah, true.
some high boots, and he looks like a modern pirate,
So
space pirate.
there are an ungodly amount of original art pages from that series out there in the wild.
Really, I've never looked, but now that you mentioned that, I want to show you. Well, I can't show you right now. I think I can if I move the camera around. Let me see. Ah, shoot. The cable doesn't let me put it there. Let me take it down. It's easier. This is the weirdest show today. I have moved this camera around so much. Oh, I haven't done this in a while. But I have this one from issue 20. It's page 18. And this one was a gift from you.
Yes, penciled by the great Phil Jimenez and inked by Andy Parks.
Yes, it's already next to my Kate Giffen sketch, and I went and I looked for the book. Let me see where it's at. What page is this? Oh, this is page.
To be fair, I didn't know Phil Jimenez ever penciled that book.
I you know that I didn't remember. I knew it at some point, and you mentioned it the other day, and I was like, "What? Really?"
Very early in his career, like super early.
This is the page here.
And it was one of those things because he is a gentleman of Puerto Rican descent who grew up loving George Perez and drew the book that you wanted to draw. So there was some symbolism.
Right. So I'm gonna take that as a goal.
Because I was telling Marla, and Marla's going, "Wow, that's a lot of thought put into that." And I was like, "It just randomly happened, but it like as soon as I saw it, I had to get it."
Oh, dude, this is the perfect gift. Thank you so much. So now that I because I you left at the studio, I wasn't there, and I couldn't thank you in person, but at least I can thank you right now. Thank you so much. It's already next to my other original Lobo art, and I look at it every day.
You know how much Jen loves Batwoman?
Yes.
So last year, because her birthday and Christmas fall right in line with each other, I got her an original J.H. Williams page.
Oh, that's amazing.
From Batwoman, the original minis that were in the detective book. I got a page from that.
Yeah. Oh man.
So I got her a page from that, and she freaked the fuck out.
yeah, and all of his pages are amazingly beautiful. It's like
so it's weird how there's certain artists that I'm surprised that their pages are as cheap as they are, and then there's some artists that I don't think are as good as these other artists that the pages are incredibly expensive.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah. So J.H. Williams, outside of the covers, his most expensive stuff is like $400.
That's not bad.
There's pages from. Did you read any of the current Swamp Thing by Romvey with Mike Perkins?
No.
Mike Perkins
I have it there, but I haven't read it.
Mike Perkins has all the original art on his site. $250 is the most expensive outside of covers. It's insane, and the art is so fucking detailed. And then Jason Sean Alexander, the artist who did Spawn and doing Philadelphia, he had a sale on his page, 25% off. 600 is roughly but it's his own inks. Everything like the pages are super detailed. And he actually penciled and inked all of the really low print Spawn issues. And again, it's weird seeing him early on in his career and seeing where he is now. Still haven't been able to get him on the show. Like I'm trying to get him and Rodney at the same time.
That would be cool. That would be cool to have them both at the same time. So back to the paramilitary Christmas special. So after he kills Santa because he beat the shit out of him and cut his head off, he goes back. Let me see. He gets into the Santa card and goes, and instead of going dropping gifts, he drops bombs. Where's my camera? Just
You
throw
moved
me
it
off.
around a little bit.
And there it is. Not difficult. Jesus Christ.
So I got my Mark Miller crossover that I want.
Oh yeah.
Lobo Kick-Ass.
Oh man, that would be really cool.
Or Lobo Nemesis would be awesome.
Lobo Nemesis would be awesome too.
Wanted you can get kind of crazy with, but Capullo doing Lobo.
I think Capullo would be perfect to do Lobo.
Perfect, like unbelievably perfect. Like
that
that would be my dude.
Yes. So the trick with the book is that after they finish reading this Santa story, so he's dropping bombs instead of dropping toys. He's dropping bombs, and he's like, let him rip, Kong, give those suckers the all seasonal boom. And it says here, and the naughty learn just what happens to those who threaten the main man's peace of mind. And the nice, well, let's just say that they learn young what it means to be innocent victims.
Yeah, like there's not a happy ending. Weirdly though, when I read Santa in it, I read him as a cross between Al Bundy and Mel Gibson.
Oh my god. That's Oh, and in case you were wondering what happened with the couple that was reading the story that ended really, really sad, when they finished reading the book, the last page said, "This book is good for one read only." Poof. And the book disappears.
So cocks the shotgun and goes upstairs.
I guess we're gonna have to kill the kids, Marta. Her name is so weird too. Sorry, what were you were gonna say? I interrupted you.
I was gonna say, like, out of all like the Lobo stories or books you've read, like, what is the one that stands out to you the most? Because for me, like, this one definitely is so off the rails that it's hard not to remember it. Like, if someone mentions Lobo story, I'm like, oh, Paramilitary Christmas, 100%.
Oh yeah, this one in Infanticide, it's another one that's a little.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
That one's a little bit out there too.
And then Young Justice had Little Lobo with his mini bike.
Oh my god, yes. I don't have any of those issues. I need to find those issues. When they were trying to do every character as a young character.
Yeah, Peter David was writing it with Todd Knock, and like it was so again off the rails because like Little Lobo's got his little trike.
In a trike.
Yeah.
That's true. I totally forgot about that. I need to find those issues.
So the New 52 one, if you go in with an open mind, it's not bad.
Yes.
Kenneth Rocafort also, I feel like he's an underappreciated artist. He's done some super good stuff, and I remember there was backlash because he was doing Teen Titans and people were going after him for sexualizing Wonder Girl and stuff, and like
there's a lot of that.
The thing you have to know is his mentors were Mark Silvestri and the old Image guys, and I know that's not an excuse, but if you look at Mark Silvestri's art,
but that's the style of the art, and I get, and I'm not saying that it's not a valid argument, I'm not saying that it's not a valid argument because it's a very valid argument, and yes, I totally agree, but there's certain things, that you have to peek at them, like, okay, so try maybe the context of the book.
Yeah. And
but
again, like that's something that like an editor should be like, hey man, like a little bit down.
Yes, exactly. It's like, hey, you think we can make this character look a little bit less sexy,
Like you fix it after an issue.
Exactly. Someone complains, someone says something, you know what? They're right. Let's do that. It's the same thing that happened. This is a completely different situation, but it's something that it should have been caught before it happened. It's the Batman Dan book and his and his thing showing up, the silhouette in the shadow shows up in a panel, and people went crazy. First of all, when he was, I hate that DC recalled those book, and change that almost immediately. I think that's
tortured Bermejo.
Yeah, I think that's disrespectful to the artist, because that book went through if this book wasn't made in 10 minutes and then published, it went through a process that takes almost 2 months, more than 2 months before it came out.
Lee Bermejo paints. It's
You know,
not.
this dude paints. I'm pretty sure they saw that page months in advance before it was published. Come on.
Because
Are you
people
telling me that
on
nobody
the internet
noticed?
made a joke of it.
Yes.
It's an adults only line.
That's the other thing. It's an adults only book. Why would you disrespect your artist like that? Your talent.
Also, Lee Bermejo has drawn Lobo before.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, no, but I just remember he had the crazy afro, not crazy afro, but he had the super like Vegeta hair on his. But he has that gritty look that I love to see. God, such a talented artist. And talking about Damned, issue 2, they made him redraw half of it because they all of a sudden got very like, well, we can't have that page, we can't have this page, we can't have that page.
I think it's insulting. It's insulting to the artist and disrespectful, because, like I said, that book, it was a process. A regular issue takes almost 2 months to produce before it's out.
And also, like, I've heard artists say this. Greg Capullo on Kevin Smith's podcast was very, very open about, I'm an artist. You don't tell me what the fuck to do. Because apparently, like, he had Grant Morrison write a script for him, and it was telling him what angle to use.
Yeah.
Balled it up and threw it in the trash. And he had the same problem with, there was an issue that Alan Moore wrote where it was like 100 pages for a 20-page book.
Yeah. I get it. That I've worked with scripts like that. I understand where he's coming from. I've worked with scripts like that. And sometimes you want that little bit of freedom, but I personally want you to give me what you have in your head, like as a writer. Tell me what you want to see, and based on what you describe, I will come up with something. And sometimes it's exactly what you would ask me to draw in that panel, or sometimes I think that whole page the sequence needs to change and break those panels a little bit, or add panels or stuff like that. And fortunately, the writers I've worked with are very good about that. Is no, this is you do what you need to do to make it work.
Because they were very publicized that Scott Snyder and Capullo hated each other when they got on Batman, because Snyder like basically went to editorial and was like, "Listen, man, I don't think I can work with this dude." So they sat him down and made them like hash it out.
Yeah. I know they're friends.
Yeah, like, but I think that's where everybody's so far apart from each other, because like one's in other side of the country, one's here with artists. The way internet works now, that sometimes you just need to have those conversations.
I think they're both in New York.
They're close enough.
Yeah,
but I'm saying for some artist teams, writer teams, sometimes you need to have that, like, maybe not even like a web connect meeting, but like in each other's face going, well, this is what I mean by this. Like,
you have to
kind of hash out styles, because Capullo came up during Marvel Method, where it was like, here's a loose script, fucking figure out the rest. Where Snyder's like, I'm going to write so much stuff.
I'm gonna describe to you what that cockroach behind that counter in that kitchen is doing.
And like, I guarantee, like, looking at Mark Silvestri's Batman Joker Deadly Duo.
Oh my god, I can't believe it's out. I haven't read it yet. I am so excited about it. I haven't read it yet.
It's the best Silvestri work I've seen.
De verdad? I mean, really?
He's always been a master draftsman.
I went straight to Spanish.
He's always been a master draftsman.
Yeah.
Because even all the Image guys, McFarlane, all of them said he was the best draftsman of all of them.
Yeah, I've heard McFarlane say that.
Yes. I also heard McFarlane say, "Hey, you hate your job. Stop hanging out by the water cooler. Quit and make your own."
Yeah. I just heard an interview uh, that McFarlane did not long ago. I'll send you the link later so you can listen to it. It's really good. It's like 2 hours long, but it's really good.
He's a good listen. And I, as much as I have a weird thing with the guy Rob Liefeld, his podcast, is interesting just because of the behind the scenes stuff. You have to kind of take it with a grain of salt because it's all his prerogative on things.
Of course. Mm-hmm.
But there's some like making the sandwich behind the deck that, you know, like revelations where you're like, oof. Especially with New 52, there's a lot he spilled about what was going on behind the scenes. That was
I did not know
pleasant.
that. I did know that there was some unpleasantness during that
the George Perez stuff probably being the worst of it.
Yeah.
So George Perez actually drew Lobo. If you remember, War of the Gods.
Yes. And I have there's a Wonder Woman cover that is done by him, I think, and I have a sketch that he did for me of Lobo.
By the way, this is off subject, but we just mentioned Wonder. Did you ever read the Wonder Woman Historia?
I have not.
Holy shit!
I have not.
Phil Jimenez's art. He broke free of the George Perez style and kind of went for this thing? Big like breaking frame stuff.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's fucking awesome. It's so good. Like it's shockingly good. It's him and Kelly Sue DeConnick. But check it out if you get a chance. I'm a huge Phil Jimenez fan. When I was working at a comic store, we were at lunch one day and I sat down with the guys I work with, and there was this guy sitting there with them. And I sat down and my boss was like, the comic owner was like, "Hey, what do you think of Phil Jimenez?" And I'm like, I mean, best George Perez clone I've ever seen. Not realizing the dude was sitting across from me. And my boss goes, "Damn it, I was hoping you were going to badmouth him." He's right there. I was like, "Oh, hey." And he was just getting ready to do Identity Crisis, the prologue, or Infinite Crisis prologue.
Oh, wow.
Where he killed Blue Beetle. And he kind of was like telling me, he's like, "Oh, I've got him in a Mission Impossible scene." And I was like, awesome. And then I read it. I was like, "Oh, they killed Blue Beetle."
They killed Blue Beetle.
You bastard.
By the way, I don't know if you noticed, but the only thing that's streamed right now is just my face.
Sorry.
I mean, I don't mind, but it's not just me talking.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm only streaming the beautiful people today.
Thank you. I was looking for the Livermejo art of Lobo. I found that it's a Suicide Squad issue number 9.
That's what it was. It was a cover.
It was a cover. Yeah. Looks pretty cool. Yeah,
I
have to look it up because I had not seen it.
Lobo is one of those characters, like, I feel like he has to be used sparingly, but at times, like, I feel like he needs to get into other media. Like, if anything, he's someone you could put in a Looney Tunes type cartoon.
Yes. Yeah, like that Lobo Road Runner issue that I mentioned earlier. It's perfect. Oh, this is not it. I thought
some of those crossovers with the Looney Tunes characters, because the Elmer Fudd Batman one was actually super good.
Yes, I agree. Yes, I love that one. Holy shit.
That one, and I'm not a huge Tom King fan, but Lee Weeks' art on that was fantastic. There was the Tweety Bird with Catwoman, which was it was all right.
That one I didn't read. Honestly, that one didn't.
It wasn't fantastic. It was decent. I would recommend checking out the Justice League though, with Lobo by Steve Orlando, and God, I'm doing a disservice by the artist. The artist was actually really good on it.
Sorry, I was looking for something because here it is. This is the movie I was talking to you about.
Okay. Man of Tomorrow.
Yes. And you can see Mayman right there. I think this is what I'm going to watch tonight before going to bed. Oh, we were looking for the artist for the Justice League of America.
Yeah, it says just a bunch of great artists on the Amazon thing. I'm like, well, that doesn't fucking help.
No, give me a second. I have this really cool app called CLC Comics that I can look it up real quick. You see, no, it takes forever. Like it always does. That was not a paid promotion, by the way. But if you guys want to pay the promotion, hit me up. Let's do this. Justice League of America. America.
Fuck yeah.
So I know that the first issue. Oh, Ivan Reis was the one who did the
Ivan
first
Reis,
few.
yes.
Yeah.
Which I became a fan of his because of Green Lantern.
Oh yeah.
He was very good. Got Andrew McDonald, Jamal Campbell. Okay, so like let me take a minute to talk about Jamal Campbell. He did the art on
Joe Prado is also involved.
Yes, Joe Prado, Mirka Andolfo. Jamal Campbell was doing the Green Lantern series that came out with Sojourner Mullane. Oh, fuck. Also, the James, the Michael Bendis. Oh God, what? Jesus Christ!
You know what I just noticed? That every issue has a different. Okay, in issue 4, it went back to Ivan Reis and Joe Prado again. But it has like every issue. I didn't remember that. Like the first issue was Reis and Prado, and then issue 2 was Philippe Watanabe. Issue 3 was Diogenes Neves. Then we came back to Ivan Reis, Andy McDonald, and then it was Andy McDonald for 2. Jamal Campbell. Here it is. That was
yes, Jamal Campbell. 7. He does Naomi and Far Sector.
Oh, okay. I haven't read those.
So his art, like, my God. So he's the closest thing to Michael Turner I've seen.
Oh.
He's got the color pops.
Yeah.
And he's very picky about what he does. He stays with certain characters, and Naomi is one that became very popular, and Far Sector, by far my favorite Green Lantern they've introduced in about 10 years.
Yeah.
Because she's away from the Green Lantern Corps, she's by herself in a whole other world. Weirdly though, Green Lantern being a book that should have Lobo in it more does not, except when he was a Red Lantern for like a minute.
Yes. I don't have that issue where he shows up in the.
Still wears the ring around his neck though.
I mean, you have to. I'm trying to look for the Far Sector book to see some of that art.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Because I haven't checked that book at all. I think I have. No, I don't have a blank issue. I don't know. In that talk.
Yeah, I'm sure Famous Faces has the trades.
I'm pretty sure I can find a trade. Yes, I'm pretty sure.
It was one that Jen and I really were championing for a while because it came out and I think it got slept on, and we're just like reading it. We're like, this is really good. N.K. Jemisin, who is a actual like fiction author, was writing it along with this great artist. So like, it was just a great conglomeration together. I know we're going off topic, but Lobo's a cosmic character and kind of he's in every corner of the universe. And honestly, he's a character you can throw into anything.
You can throw anything and it'll work. It'll work.
Like you put him in Scooby-Doo, he's probably going to be banging Daphne.
Oh, at least he will try.
You'll try. Yeah, he might. Try. He might get shot down, but he will try.
He will get shot down for real, but he will try.
Which I kind of like.
Actually, you know what? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I have to make this comment because this character has a very particular appearance and a very particular attitude, and it is there's an issue that I'm going to look it up later and read it again, and I want to one day, if we do this again, talk about that issue at some point, because it's an issue about consent and it,
Ooh,
yeah, yes. And
wow!
there's
And for back then,
yes, oh yes, that's why I want to talk. That's why I want to talk about it. That's why I want to talk about it. We'll talk about it later because
um,
I have to reread it and refresh my mind because,
and
But what I wanted
also,
to say, sorry, real quick, what I want to say is that it's not as 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 horrible as one thing the character is.
Keith Giffen also did a book for Image called Trencher, which the art was Keith Giffen's art is very esoteric. He doesn't do the art often for his books.
No. Mm-hmm.
It's very boxy kind of, but it had the sensibilities of the Lobo series,
Yes.
where it's another kind of like gun for hire character, but he's kind of a schmuck. He's just bad at his job. It's very hard to find. That book and oh god, we both follow him on Facebook because I see your comments. But the Savage Eric Larson, Savage
Oh, Eric
Dragon,
Larson. Yeah.
two of the most consistent books when Image launched,
What?
besides Spawn.
Yeah, I mean, Savage Dragon and Spawn are the only
Yes.
things that I say that I have been consistent through for 30 years now. It's been 30 years of Image Comics.
Savage Dragon, the Ultimate Edition just came out.
I know.
It's about $39 that you can get from Amazon right now.
What the
yes.
What?
Yeah.
That's super cheap.
Yeah, but that's Eric Larson. Like, he wants people to have it in their hands.
Oh no, I'm definitely gonna have it in my hands.
Savage Dragon might be an episode we're gonna have to do at a later date, because that is a book that I feel has the Lobo sensibility. Savage Dragon has been with Ninja Turtles, like he's been everywhere. It's comedic, it's action. Like, there's fingerprints of this book all over the universe.
All over. Yeah. I haven't read anything aside from the first miniseries of Savage Dragon. Because again, back then, all I could afford was very little, so it was either X-Men or other stuff, and I was gonna be like, I'm not gonna miss an issue of X-Men to try to read something that I might not enjoy, so I was not gonna risk it.
Savage Dragon starts becoming a comedy book at a certain point. Like,
oh yeah,
it's still violent, but it goes into like comedy and drama, but like it's a good mixture. Like, and I feel kind of the Lobo sensibilities, where it can get serious, it can get funny.
It can get funny, it can be yeah. That's the thing. There's some issues, like the issues on 52. They're wacky, but they're not out there wacky, And they're there's a little bit more of a serious tone to the character, and it works perfectly. And then you can have him with this Roadrunner character, being insane, and it works too.
They also was it Legion of Superheroes, the Great Darkness War, they had him pop up. It was like thousands of years in the future, and Lobo's still alive and cranky old man.
I haven't read that one.
Oh, it's one of the greatest Darkseid stories ever.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna have to look that up. Damn. I'm gonna have to look that up, dude. There's so many. There's when I started to collect the Lobo books. I knew there was a lot of miniseries and one shots and stuff like that, but there's so much. Like, he's in so many books aside from his miniseries and his regular series. He's in so many books as a.
Well, do you remember Wolverine, Venom, and Gambit for a while? How many fucking books they would pop up in the 90s where it was just like, no. I will say that Gambit, that first limited series that took place in New Orleans, probably the best of them. Because it had Belladonna and his whole... That was probably one of my favorites, and Gambit is, of course, one of your other favorite characters.
Yeah, I mean, it's drawn by Lee Weeks.
Yes,
Yes,
early weeks.
that's early weeks. Yeah.
Like in my collecting now, I'm collecting my childhood. So as an X-Men reader, there were certain weird side characters that would show up in the Marvel universe, and one of them I was totally infatuated with because of how weird the character was. Rom Space Knight, who popped up in X-Men when I was collecting with the
Oh
Dire
my
Wraiths,
god.
because he popped up and it was when Forge created the thing that took away the powers, and he hit Storm with it and took away her powers. And it was supposed to be for the Dire Wraiths to take away their shape shifting. And Rom was a toy during the 70s. He got a Marvel series.
Yes.
The comic was way better than it should have been.
Really?
Yes, it's actually really good. Because it's this guy who got his humanity taken away to protect his planet and go after these aliens that were attacking them. Gets stranded on Earth.
Sorry,
And like literally his body that's left of it is sitting on his home planet, and his only goal is to become human again. Frank Miller did the cover for the first issue. Bill Mantlo, who did Guardians of the Galaxy and Rocket Raccoon, was the writer on it.
What? That character never called.
It's a dumb character, but like you sit there and start reading, I was like, man, this is better than it should have been. Moon Knight was one of those characters where like I first found him because of Werewolf by Night, which I had a beater copy and not thinking back in the 80s that would ever be worth anything. Dumb fucking idea.
Dude, you know how many books I destroyed, back then because I would
think how many people owned Omega Men #3 at one point
and just dismiss the book.
So I remember haggling at a convention to get a copy of it for my friend, and I had to trade. You're gonna laugh at this, but Dale Keown, one of his first Hulk issues with Peter David when Professor Hulk finally became a thing.
Oh my god, yes.
Where they integrated, because that was a hot book. So I traded that and like 3 Spider-Man McFarlane books for that issue for my friend.
I mean,
got it. Like it was a $40 book at the time.
It was a $50 book, and that book stayed for in $60 until like maybe 2 years ago.
But my friend was a giant Lobo fan, so I got, hey Marcy.
Oh, Marcy, yes, I used to do that too. In fact, I have books here that I've broken apart that I use them to wrap presents with.
So there is a bar in Melbourne that their bathroom is all comic book issues.
Yep.
I went in there and I started looking. I was like, that was from a $20 book, and I hate that part of my body that's like, that's from that. That's from that. That's from that.
Oh yes, I went to visit a friend not long ago for his wedding, right? And in his house, his bathroom is decorated like that with comic book pages, and I see them, and I'm like, oh no! It's like you see a comic that you go like, no.
Yes, and I know where that came from. He is no longer on. He is no longer on Instagram or on any social media. But really? Andrew, Comic Book Campaign, thank you for hooking up Gambit, because I almost bought that for his Christmas present, but Gambit outbid me for it, even though I was trying to buy it for him.
Oh my god! It was that he contacted me and said, no, I was like, hey, dude, I get it. If someone is offering you more money for it, I totally get it,
So no, he gave me a price, and he messaged me back. He's like, well, Gambit just offered to buy it. I was like, well, I can get him something else.
Sorry.
We were 20 minutes apart.
Yes, this is my prized possession because it has it's remarked by.
And it's signed by Keith Giffen.
Yes. I have this one. I'm gonna show off my shit right now, so I'm sorry.
You got to show off that Spawn because that's kind of awesome. Because
all right, let me show you that. I was gonna show you something Lobo related, but let me show you
for the Todd father.
My dude, you want to know something funny? I sent it. It was supposed to. I sent it before November 11th because that was the deadline to send it, and I paid so that to make sure that it arrived there before the 11th, and I paid almost $30 on shipping to make sure that it was there. To make sure that it was there to get that they got there on time. And I wasn't expecting, like, the last time I sent a book to get signed and graded, it took almost a year to get back. It was a Jason Aaron, yeah, it was a Jason Aaron private signing. It took almost a year to get them back. So I wasn't expecting those books to be back at all until maybe I went to the store the other day and someone said, no, their turnaround time has been better.
They hired a shitload more people, but now they're doing all these signings because now they have Jorge Jimenez, the Batman artist, now doing a private signing, and everybody's like, oh no, like, dude, like, a couple of people have had stuff there for 12 months currently.
Yeah, damn. So they arrived, long story short, they arrived on the day of my birthday. I was like, what? I wasn't expecting them, like I said, until like maybe next year, but let me show it. And I opened it and I was like, what? That was the first thing I saw.
You can't sell that because
this one's it's not
it's literally Todd saying nice art, and it's just like, fuck.
Yeah. So the original idea was, because I sent it and wanted my name on the signature series next to McFarlane's, because I registered as an artist for at CGC. So now when I send books to get graded, if it has my art, it's gonna come with a yellow label and it's gonna have my name. So that's why I sent it, and I wanted to put them on my website for sale, but it says nice art, and I could not put that for sale. Anyone?
As a 90s kid, there's no way in hell I could as a collector during that time, because
I got this other two. I sent these two because it was a set, it was number 1 and number 300,
Nice.
So when you put them together, they look like this. No, this way. See?
Which, as they call it, hamburger head spawn was Capullo.
Yes. So I just recently read I haven't read the new Batman Spawn yet, but
I haven't read it yet. I
reread the originals the other day, and I remember all that ordeal with the issues that came out, issue 18 and 19 that came out, because originally they were going to be the Batman issues, and then they had this issue come out with the face split, and he's fixing his face, and they say it has the little things like, it happened with this dude dressed in black, and it says those issues are coming soon. And then we have, after issue 20, they published issue 18 or 17 that had that story, which was super weird.
Yeah, there was a lot of weird things, and anytime Frank Miller's involved, like,
what I didn't know is that Batman Spawn story is on the same universe as the Dark Knight Returns.
Is it?
Yes,
I did not know that.
Yes, on the trade that came out, the 30th anniversary, the trade that came out with the two issues, the Batman Spawn and Spawn Batman, it says on the Spawn Batman, it says this issue takes place before the events of, before the events of the Dark Knight Returns.
I just recently started rereading the Grendel Batman.
I have not read that one.
You've got it.
I know, and it's in my pile of books to read.
One of them's the Bisley one, and the other one's the Matt Wagner one.
Yeah.
The second one is Grendel Batman 2 is the one with Bisley.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out. I wanted to get that first issue of Lobo signed by Bisley this year that he was in a MegaCon, but I couldn't make it. It sucks.
Crush Lobo.
This is a nice series. It wasn't written for me, by the way. It was
but it was kind of fun. Like, once you get out of the relationship stuff, and it got to like Lobo fucking with her, where she's just like furious with him. She's like, "This motherfucker!" Like,
yeah.
I hate him.
was a cool. It was a fun series. It was an excuse to I mean,
Like,
not an
I kind
excuse
of
to
want to
get to read
see
some Lobo.
the prequel with him hooking up with her mom.
Right? I want to know who her mom is, which it turns out is just a regular mom. It's not nobody special. So for those of you that like to, that argue that which one is the first appearance or not, let me
If you pull out a Hulk 180, I'm gonna hit you.
you imagine that? No, I was just gonna put this out. I'm just gonna get this out. The Crush
The
first
Crush
appearance.
first.
Yeah.
So Crush was a fun character when she first showed up, and I don't know if they know what they're doing with her because. And I hate to say it, who she reminds me of, and there's a pro wrestler named Rhea Ripley.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
Yes. If ever they were going to cast Crush,
that would be it.
Yes,
because that would definitely be it.
She 100%, like, I look at her and I'm like, that's Crush.
It's another Lobo book.
Yes, that was during the whole Justice League America.
Yes, this is
the year of the villain.
The year of the villain one, and this is where this is a story with the Twilight Lobo.
Yes,
I call him Twilight Lobo, but this is I don't think it's first appearance, but it's a story with that Lobo. Right before the Jesus before that that new Lobo series was published.
I found an art collector who has George Perez prelim art from covers.
Oh yeah. For sale?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, of course.
Yeah, it was like 1K and up.
Of course it's gonna be 1K and up. What did you expect?
I mean, like, and then I saw the Rob Liefeld Whatnot sales with his original art. This is one of my first introductions to Lobo, and if you look at the price on it, it's still like
only 99 cents.
Yeah, like, we didn't make it $1; we made it a penny under.
It's still 99 cents.
So that God. So for people who don't know, that was a joke because at the time everybody was bitching that comics went up to $1. So they made it 99 cents. And this is a very famous cover that has been recreated many, many times.
I have that patch made for my jacket, and the jacket that I use for conventions has that patch in the back that says "Bite Me, Fanboy," and I had it signed by Keith Giffen at DragonCon. I'm a fan of the character, man. What can I say? This one I want to get a CGC one because it's on the CBCS. But this is the cover that I was telling you earlier that has I got your stinking.
That was the second series.
This was the volume 2. It's the regular the regular series. The other one was miniseries. So if there's anyone new that don't know, in the 90s, that was a thing, getting foil and shiny covers, it's like it was all the rage.
Look up Valiant Crash.
I hated variant covers then. I hate variant covers now, and I have to say that I as much as I hate I am guilty of that because I've made a bunch of variant covers for a bunch of indie publications this past year.
So I've stayed away from retailer variants, except for there was one company that had a Peach Momoko Magic cover.
Okay, of course.
That I just absolutely adored. So like they had a CGC pre-order for like $70 for it, guaranteed 9.8. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I've got extra money from overtime, so I'm buying it.
Fuck it. Yeah, that's exactly what I said when I bought that Sideshow statue that is right next to me. I said, fuck it. And this is the one with the Fraceta.
Yes.
Batman. This is the Raphael Grandpa cover.
Raphael Grandpa, like I liked his Dark Knight that he did, the Golden Child.
Yes.
It was really good, but yeah, Grandpa is underrated. He's actually I've grown to like his art quite a bit.
Yeah, I think he's a really good artist, and he has been, like you said, underrated.
He's grown quite a bit too. There was So I was on another show, and they're huge like Dynamite, Vampirella, Chaos fans, and all that.
Oh
And I was
yeah,
like, oh yeah, my co-host done a bunch of cards for them. Like, what?
yeah. I am a Dynamite sketch card artist. I've done a bunch of.
They do like 1 a.m. shows though. So
Really? I mean, I
yeah.
can stay with 1 a.m. one day. One day. This is the first time I sent a book to CGC with my work on it. I have a set of three. There's that one.
You did the Lady Thor as well.
Yes, and I did two of the other two.
So when are you
This
sending in a
one,
Lobo sketch?
that's actually I'm not gonna show it because, but it's already in the works. Now that I get them yellow label with my signature and in the yellow label, this is the other one. I have this for sales, by the way. If anyone is interested, they can hit me up and we can talk business.
They are doing Spawn Month on the image covers this month.
Really?
As variants, and it was weird seeing Jason Sean Alexander doing a Spawn for Philadelphia since he did
Oh yeah,
Spawn.
I think I saw it. I think I saw it on. I think I saw a sketch or something on his Instagram.
Yeah. Which there's another guy who, like, when he first came up, I was like, oh, he's a Sienkiewicz, Ashley Wood clone, and then developed his own style. And
okay.
There's other guys like David Finch. I used to think was like a bastardized like Silvestri mixed with a little bit of Turner.
David Finch, yeah, I can see that, especially when he came out, and you could see. I mean, but most 90s were a variation of Jim Lee.
Freezing up on this side.
Am I still live? Are we here? Yes, we are.
Okay,
sorry.
So yeah, like, Jim Lee and Art Adams seem to be the two biggest influences in Frank Miller for guys from the 90s, and then the next generation was of course like Jim Lee, Silvestri.
Yes. Oh yeah. And you can see it, especially during the 90s. You could see a lot of Silvestri and Jim Lee and all that in all of these artists that came out then, and I love that a lot of them has grown past that, and have become better artists with the years. Because I don't know, I feel like you can get so far imitating someone else's art,
I mean, I don't know if you remember, but do you remember Joe Madeira used to like go out of his way to call out Roger Cruz for imitating his art?
Oh my god!
Yeah,
I didn't know that he called him out.
Oh no, he called him out in the issues. He had a little sidebar on one saying, "Not Roger Cruz."
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, like,
oh my god.
And Roger Cruz has like gotten out of it a little bit, but he's still like a Madeira clone. But I just remember how like personal Madeira took it.
Well, I mean, I get it, but at the same time, dude, that's on you because you were the one who made this style super popular and then just drop out of the planet, disappeared. I mean, he didn't disappear.
There's two people I'd say have a very distinct style that when I see it, I know exactly who it is out of the current stable that were image artists back then. Humberto Ramos.
Mm-hmm.
Very distinct style.
Yes.
And then Chris Pachalo.
Too.
Very distinct style. He's got a heavy ink, heavy brush, whatever you want to call it, but like you see it, you automatically know like, hey, that's Pachalo.
Yep. But just
by the way, I'm calling you out, Marcy. Aren't you supposed to be out Christmas partying? You couldn't hang out with me. You're Christmas partying, but you're watching this. Just saying.
The party's boring. Don't judge it.
It's probably over by now.
The party's over for being boring. I mean, it's the party's fault.
Once the eggnog spills, it's all over.
Once the coquito spills, it's all over. It's all over.
How much longer till your guy has Chicacabra 2 out?
Dude, I was gonna talk to you about like earlier today. I reading some new pages. The second book is already out.
You Your internet is lagging.
Hello. There you go. I'm
Okay.
back.
Yeah.
So the second issue, the second story book is out being edited right now, and
Okay.
I've and he's writing already a third story, and I've
Oh.
read almost every page. I'm gonna have to tell him to stop sending them because they look super beautiful, and I love seeing them. But it's like I'm reading it
Spoiling
already,
it.
and I have to say that it's I think it's some of his best work. Like
Awesome.
I've been following his work for a few years now, and uh, and I have to say that he's these last few pages that I've read like 10 pages. Oh my god, they're so beautiful,
That
so
was the big
beautiful.
that was the big surprise when we did that issue. Like between we had people who were watching who like got into it, but I just remember Jen going, "This was super fucking good."
Like it's unexpectedly good. Yeah, I know, I get it. But I mean, I knew it was gonna be a good book. He was nominated for a Eisner Award, and he lost to Brian Michael Bendis that year. So that tells you that the caliber of his writing. He's a good writer. He's a good writer.
Well, he sent Jen and I both very personal messages afterward.
Yes.
That like Jen was like, "Oh my god, like this is depressing, but like makes me so happy that we made his day."
So the new pages are really beautiful. What the character is going through, it's very relatable. Actually, it's very relatable, and I'm not gonna say it because
No, I'm
but
looking forward to like reading
yes,
it
me
just
too, me
fresh
too, me too. Yes,
because I
yes,
feel that's the best way to go into it when you go into a book having no expectations and you just all of a sudden you're like, "Hey, this is fucking great."
yes,
So
yeah,
I had that reaction with that. Like Die was another book. I didn't know what the fuck it was, but like I picked it up and I was like, the
same,
art's great, the writing's great, like awesome.
same. That was one of those that I was like, I'm gonna read it just because let's see. It's like,
I mean, I
oh,
like word of
yeah,
mouth books, but like I do love just that random one on the shelf where just something about it calls out to you. Where you're like, you know what? Like I'm gonna give this a chance.
oh man, for me to try something out new, somebody has to say, hey, try this out. I'm not gonna pick up something up. It has to be, for me to pick something new now, it has to be like, it has to call me out. Like, it has to be like the art on the cover has to be, or the name of the writer and the artist, the name, it has to be something that I go like, okay, I want to read this, I want to see what this is up. But for me to try something new now, it's like somebody recommends it. You say, hey, like Far Sector, I put it on my note, I'm gonna look it up, and I'm gonna buy that and read it. I want to read that at some point one
So
day.
I remember Die was one that the little flavor text that they said about the book was, if you like the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon from the 80s, think about that in the modern age. And then it
Yeah.
said, like, people disappear. Like, what happened if those kids from Dungeons and Dragons came back 12 years later? And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, that's when you told me that. That's when that's what got me. Marcy says, yes, she almost exclusively buy random ones that call to her. That's awesome. That's actually great.
So she's read a bunch of the stuff that we've done on book club.
Oh yeah.
I know her. I know her in real life.
Oh nice.
Um, and it's weird because I've had books recommended to me that like I picked up and I've not loved. Like, luckily on book club, there's some that I haven't loved, but I've found redeeming qualities of.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, which book club at this point, I don't even know what's going on. It's
Dude, for
just
real, we have to talk about that. We have to get together and talk about that and try to revive that again.
yeah, like there's just
It's not happening at the moment. It's okay, but now we're doing this one for now. So let's see if this one might grow into something uh, insanely cool too. So
yeah, it was one of those things where I think we all needed a break.
yeah, I think so.
There was too much going on.
It's a lot going on for everyone,
Yeah.
right now.
And The last episode we did where everybody called out after I got called out for having too many guests, I kind of got a little like I need a break.
Yeah. I get it. I get it.
Yeah,
I've been swamped with work until like literally this past week has been the only break I've had because it just suddenly died. You know, the 2 weeks before Christmas are usually my that's my dead season, and it has been pretty dead this past 2 weeks. But I've been swamped with work and a bunch of other stuff. I've done quite a few projects this year that got published this year. You know, so
and for those wondering why the hell I'm doing a show in the middle of the week, I'm finally off nights.
What?
Yeah, I have a 2:30 to 11 shift now, but like my days are all over the place, so I don't have a set schedule anymore.
But it's during the day at least.
After 3 years, they took me out of exile with threats.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ!
Yes, I'll talk to you about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
But yeah, so shows are gonna be kind of all over the place, but this felt like a good time to start something, and I think this might be easier than talking about a volume, but just talking about characters and stuff we love.
Single issues. You know what single issue I would like to talk about? The Spawn Christmas issue that he's like stuffing things. Yeah.
There is a couple of Spawn Christmas issues, but there is that one in particular that Capullo did in the early issues.
Yes. Issue number 30 something.
Yeah. Also the Billy Kincaid issue of Spawn with the ice cream man that's basically John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah.
Killing the kids like that.
Yeah,
I remember the first time I read that, I had to put it down. I was like, all right, like, and then there was the Neil Gaiman. Was it Neil Gaiman written issue? Or no, it was Frank. It was the Frank Miller issue that he wrote, where it was all the creators and their characters in jail and Spawn's walking through.
Issue number 10.
Yes, it was Cerebus.
The Cerebus is in the cover.
Yes.
Half in color and half in black and white, and he's like, color. Yes.
And I remember at the time not understanding what the fuck was going on. And now going back, I'm like, creators in jail. Yes. Like, I get it.
Yep. And you know something interesting about that issue? That you can get it on trade paperbacks.
Really?
That issue is not in the trade. I think on the new compendium, it's not on the new compendium. Because it has character that has copyright of.
Yeah.
The Rebels is it's owned by someone else.
Yeah, Dave Sim is
by Dave Sim.
Yeah, interesting character.
Yeah, I've never read any Cerebus, so I.
Most of what I know of Cerebus when he showed up in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Mirage series.
Yeah.
Kind of like that's my knowledge of Usagi Yojimbo. Like. Showed up in that series.
Oh, dude, but Usagi is a really good book.
Yeah, it is. Like, later on, I started picking it up.
It's like, oh, wow. Like, I read a few issues because my friend said, dude, you need to read this. And it's like, no, you need to read this, you know?
I think for me, that was Lone Wolf and Cub when Frank Miller was doing it.
Oh, my God. Wow. I totally forgot about that.
Because I was like, this looks stupid. Like, no. Read it. And then I started reading it. I was like, all right, this is really good. And then I watched the actual like live action movies.
Yes.
That it was based off of, and they're fucking incredible.
Yeah, the classics, yes. I've never read the comics, but the movies, I remember watching them with my friends because we were all back then into samurai stuff and Japanese culture, obviously.
Everybody.
And we were playing a game called Legends of the Five Ring, an RPG game called Legends of the Five Ring, which is heavily inspired on Japanese culture.
I played the card game of that.
Oh, sweet. So we were like, we everything that was samurai, ninja, martial arts, gimme.
I used to play the Oriental Adventures module on D&D.
Oh my God.
Where you could be a ninja or a samurai and monk.
I never played the Oriental Adventures on D&D. on D and
The
D?
monk was so overpowered, it was fucking pointless. Are you still doing the D&D show every Friday?
Yes, we're on break right now. We do
Okay.
a D&D show. It's different RPGs, but it was mostly D&D. Um, but we're on break. That we're on break right now until next year. One of the DM is in Puerto Rico right now visiting his family, and we are like these weeks. We it's my last week was my birthday and my anniversary was yesterday, so there was a lot of things going on during December. So we usually take a break during December. We're about to hit 2 years.
That's awesome.
We're about to hit 2 years playing every Friday night. It's in
It,
Spanish
it,
though, so
yeah. You can do the subtitles in English, can't you?
I don't know, because the thing is that when we start speaking Spanish, if you listen to it,
Can't keep up.
it would be impossible for that subtitles to try to keep up.
We just hit 4 years of the channel in
Dude,
October.
wow.
Yeah, like it's kind of nutty to think about. Like,
4 years.
yeah, like it's crazy. Like even just 3 years since the nonsense with me happened with that other person, like it's crazy to even ponder that it's been that long.
It's been that long, not that long. But here we are standing, my friend.
Yeah,
So
things keep changing in the channel. Like, so there are talks of bringing back Longbox Paradox as a monthly.
okay.
Um, I don't know if Jen's going to be involved because she's going through some personal stuff right now. But Tessa is a nerd who joined me. She's a
Yeah.
huge collector. She's going to be part of the show for
Nice.
once a month. So probably going to be like a wrap up show for the month, just kind of talking and then random like old books because she cleans books, she deals with older books, she collects older books.
Sweet.
So there'll be a little bit of everything. She was on my movie show and can roll with it, and hopefully Jen will be involved. I don't know, but as always, like I welcome anybody who wants to come on and talk because I'm not doing enough comic content. There's been mostly movies lately, and I want to find the right balance between everything. But it's always changing. That's
Dude,
the only thing I'd say.
you know what? One of the things that I learned from Neil Gaiman's Sandman is it's how to handle and deal with change. And everything will change. Your channel, year 4, is still evolving, it's still growing, it's still growing, and it will change many more times. And I know that change sometimes it's a scary thing and difficult. Oh my god, and I fight it sometimes. Oh no.
So
But
there is a business book called Who Moved My Cheese that is all about dealing with change.
yeah,
And I had to read it at my old job. And you do, no matter what, you fight it.
yeah,
Even
of course.
mentally you're prepared for it, but internally you're going, oh,
Yeah, I don't like
but
this.
then you have to put on this face of great, awesome.
But the next time, before you know it, you're rolling with that change, and that change will take you places, man.
Because it's funny because like I have people saying, oh, I watched some of the earlier episodes, and I immediately go, oh, uh-oh, we lost Gambit. So the earlier episodes used to be kind of rough. The movie episodes in particular, I was fucking horrible. I have no shame in saying that I was just
I'm back.
bad.
How about that?
Yeah, I was saying
Episodes.
earlier episodes we used to do, like especially the movie ones, I used to be terrible. I was getting copyright claims constantly because I was using footage, blah blah blah, even though it fit into fair use. And then you and I started doing the other shows, and I just remember we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. Like,
Still don't know I still don't know what I'm doing.
but I remember how much I fought against doing like live.
Yeah.
And then I was like, fuck, that ended up being probably our best thing.
Yeah, it works best. It works better.
The interaction, and I've said a lot of dumb shit on the earlier episodes that make me cringe now when I see it.
Hey,
Especially calling out someone's husband.
It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, but like someone went like, "Is that who I?" And I was like, "Yeah, like
it's okay. It's okay.
It's saved for life. It's just terrible." I've grown since then, but
I mean, I hope so. You know,
I mean, older, but it's just been a constant evolution, and Jen coming to the show, I'd say, helped me grow as a person a little bit, because there was shit that I'd say Gambit and I, just with our backgrounds, weren't in tune with, and kind of kept us on a certain line, I guess.
Yeah, not keeping us certain, helping us keep up with the times. It's all, you know.
Yeah, and
we might have missed some things here and there on our journey, but good things. We have friends like her that help us get up to date.
And also, like, I liked having a female voice here, because I feel, as much as females are very much involved in the community, I still think their voice is not
heard.
Yeah, given the podium for it. And I'm so proud that, when she left doing the weekly show and started her own channel, she's over 1,000 subscribers. She has surpassed me. The
That's awesome.
Student has,
that's awesome. Yes, surpassing. That's great.
Like, her and Mars have both said that I helped, and that's very, very nice of them.
Yes.
I don't know how I helped, but like, I was just a dude during COVID trying to find something, going through a huge depressive episode.
Look at that, and you help others too. You see that?
I mean, I try. Like,
no, that's great. That's a great quality, man.
It was always weird, because people would be like, "Oh, I love the show," and I'm like, "It's COVID. You have nothing fucking else to do."
No, you'd be surprised. It's COVID, but there was a lot of content out there. There's a lot of stuff out there.
And then Marcy, like, her and I met on Tinder, and she ended up liking the show.
Well, shit, I like your show. You know what I saw the other day that enraged me? It was someone replying to a comment on a video that someone left on her page, on one of her posts, saying that the comic books that she was showing were her husband's and not hers. It's like, what?
Wait, what? Who was that?
I don't remember her name. I just was scrolling, and I saw that she was replying to the comment that said, "Your comics are not."
It was Skeleton Key Comics.
I think so. Your comics are not yours; those are your husband's comics. I don't know the story. I don't know anything about that, but I see comments like that a lot. Dudes.
So her and her husband own an online store.
Oh, okay, sweet. I assume yes.
But she, like, Nat, like, on her shit.
Yeah.
Like, again, like, where she calls herself Comics Queen now. Very, very pretty, very smart, very on the ball. Do not fuck with her when it comes to her comics, because she will fucking destroy you.
Right. I love seeing that shit. I love seeing that shit, because dudes are idiots sometimes. Dudes are idiots almost all the time.
So it's the dismissive thing of like, oh, it's your boyfriend. Her husband doesn't give a fuck about comics.
Right?
Like, literally, he's a musician. Like, he collects guitars.
It's completely different, right?
Yeah, it's a way more expensive hobby.
Oh, I know. I know. I have the two most expensive hobbies ever: instruments and comic books.
Comics cannot be expensive, but it can be expensive, because I know people who will bargain hunt.
Listen, don't say comics are not expensive, because I just saw the other day the Giant Size X-Men #1 that I want for $1,800. This close to put it on the credit card. This close.
The only thing I could say about that is it's a weird book that has growth potential still. but it's still 1,800.
But it's $1,800. My dude, you know how many sketches I have to do?
But I'm also the person who was like, man, there's this Sonos soundbar that would make my Blu-rays sound fucking phenomenal for 700. And then I sit there staring at it going, no.
I mean,
And it would make also my PS5 game sound awesome too. But again, like, I bought those super expensive, well, not super expensive, but I got the PlayStation headphones, the headset that were $100 that have the 3D audio.
That they're good?
Only $100.
No,
really good.
But are they good? Like, are they good?
Sounds awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
For gaming, awesome. Everybody I play with, they can hear me clearly because I play Destiny way too fucking much. Like way too much.
You know, there are other games out there, right?
Oh no, I'm still playing God of War Ragnarok.
Like, I haven't played the other God of War from PlayStation 4 yet.
I got it still.
I have to play that one.
I never finished it, so I watched the YouTube video doing the story of it.
That's actually not a bad idea. I think I'm gonna look into that. I've been playing that Marvel.
It's like 6 hours though.
Wow, nah, I'm not gonna spend 6 hours.
And Horizon Hidden West, I haven't finished.
I have not finished that one either.
That's a big game. That's like Red Dead 2. Like, it's just a lot of shit to do.
Yeah, like Red Dead Redemption. That took 6 months of my life.
So there's a South Park episode about that.
Really?
Yes, about Red Dead 2, where Al Gore is playing it while hunting Man Bear Pig.
So that's the thing about that game. I spend hours doing the most mundane shit you can do in that game.
So, like, the cop's wife in it, he comes home and he's like, I told you not to play my save. She's like, I started my own game. I'm a gang leader. I got legendary weapons and animals. And he's like, what do you mean you got them? And they start arguing over Red Dead.
I'm gonna have to look it up.
Fucking stupid, but like, I've seen worse shit. Like, we're such a selfish generation, and yet it's funny.
Check that out.
There's great stuff. So the whole theme of this show has been showing our love of comics, a book we love. And I think that's what we need to get back to is, yes, spec is great. Being able to make money off of it is great. Yet, by Paramilitary Christmas, by the way, go seek it out. The trade
in the back, you can see my sideshow and my this way. There it is. That back there, that's the sideshow, the Hot Toys one, and there's a bunch of other Lobo stuff there.
I like the color change.
Right?
There is what I read was the digital version of the complete Keith Giffen Alan Grant collection.
Ah, yeah.
It's like an epic collection. But it had Last Argonian, Lobo's Back, Convention Special, Paramilitary Christmas. There was one other trade in there, but it was beefy. There was a lot of story in it, and
sweet. I don't have that trade.
I think that's the way to go for it, because some of it a little expensive, some not. Like Last Argonian #1, not super expensive, but if you're a fan, chase it down. If you're not, I don't know if it's worth it. I recently tried starting to do a Tomb of Dracula run. That shit got real expensive real quick.
Oh yeah, so with the Lobo is that it's not that easy to find Lobo comics, because for some reason the people that have Lobo comics love them and don't want to get rid of them. You know, it's not easy to find, but you can find them actually. You can find that Lobo #1 from the miniseries from the 90s. You can find it at not at $1 anymore, but you can find it not that expensive actually.
You can find graded for about $80.
That's not bad.
It's not bad. Like, it's
Consider.
not the one everybody's looking for, even though I kind of think since they redo his origin in it, it's the way to go.
I would say that too, but technically, Omega Man number 3 is the first appearance,
Yeah.
and let's not argue that anymore.
No. Hulk 181 is not his first appearance of Wolverine.
It's
Just saying.
not.
But so it's not a super expensive book to get. Most Lobos kind of aren't. They're middle of the road, but people don't come off of them. Spawn, if you're collecting Spawn, you'll find the same thing. The Spawn collectors, McFarlane collectors, do not let go of their
Don't
stuff.
let go of their stuff. Yep. It's really interesting. It's really interesting. I finally managed to finish the whole 90 series of the Lobo series. I like 64 issues. Just like maybe a year ago I got the final issue, and I had to pay. I have to overpay for an issue that it's legit not worth $20, but I had to pay $20 in order to get the damn issue that I needed, because you just can't find them that easily. You can find some in boxes, but you notice that you will find the same copies on almost everywhere. It's like the same book.
Yes.
It's like why are these the only books that are always available? So weird.
I had that with Planetary. I had to go to a show and get one of the issues because some dick at a comic store I go to sold the book out of my box.
Oh my god.
So I had to pay $25 for one issue out of it because it's Warren Ellis kills the Justice League in it, basically.
I'm missing an issue of the Iron Maiden, the second series of Iron Maiden that came out 2 years ago. One issue, I can't find it anywhere. And I tried to, after I finished. So basically, with Lobo, I am not complete because now I'm tracking down the Legion appearances and some other stuff.
Legion's cheap, at least.
Yes, that's cheap.
Legion, Rebels.
But I tried to find. There was a comic called Bomb the Intergalactic Bomb or something like that. It's a 4-issue miniseries with Lobo that I did not know anything about. That's a nice headline right there.
Yeah.
It's a nice sentence that I'm just reading right there.
Get ready for inappropriate DMs.
They're not gonna be inappropriate. They're gonna be like, so what's up about those comics? So I tried to get into getting Ghost Rider stuff, and I stopped myself. I just got like a stack like this, and I said, no, that's it. I'm not going to.
So I used to have the 1990s Ghost Rider, the Dan Ketch one. I had 20 of issue 1 at one point. When it first came out, I bought a shit ton of them.
Listen, one thing about 90s books is that there's a shit ton of them out there.
Yes.
I don't know. I see some of these 90s books at some outrageous prices. I'm like, are you kidding me?
So the trick is finding them in good condition. And now they were like, well, newsstand editions are worth more now because they're harder to get in good condition. I know. Trust me, as a person who used to shop at 7-Eleven to get his books,
oh my god, dude.
So newsstand edition of Deadpool's first appearance is astronomical.
And that's ridiculous.
Considering they were selling over 100,000 of that.
How many copies of that book were printed? Just look it up one day. I'm pretty sure you can find those numbers.
No, it was 150,000.
150,000 copies. I can guarantee you that out of that 150,000 copies, at least 100,000 are still out there, in good condition, in amazing condition. And that's a huge number.
Rob will tell you constantly, you're the best seller. Look it up that year.
I'm not gonna. Anyway, same with X-Men #1.
Yes,
X-Men #1 by Jim Lee. That people went crazy over it. Every time I get a box for donation, I have a copy or two of X-Men #1, or Spawn #1, or Youngblood #1, or of anything that came out in the 90s. Every time I grab a box for donation, it has a copy of those books. Every time someone drops a box of, hey, I got this box of comics at home, take collecting dust. I know you like comics, here. This is for you. And I open it. There's some Spawn. There's some Wildcats. There's some.
Which is crazy because Spawn 1 went astronomical now. Like, it's
really,
it jumped a lot.
Oh,
yeah. I didn't know there was a newsstand version of it either.
Me neither. I learned that the other day.
Yeah. Spawn 1 went up, and Youngblood went up for, I don't know why. Go because of Prophet. Youngblood 2. Because Jake Gyllenhaal is going to be Prophet.
What?
Yeah. I know.
I remember when that came out and Stephen Platt was drawing Prophet.
Yeah. Oh, McFarlane Jr. Yeah, I remember when he was doing Moon Knight.
Yeah.
The story of how they got him to go over to Extreme Studios is even better.
Oh yeah, what was that?
Rob bought him a car.
I mean, I will go to work for Rob if he buys me a car right now.
He bought him a high-end Viper.
Oh, I will definitely. I mean, I will do things to Rob if he gets me a nice car like that.
Yeah. Oh no, he bought him a high-end car as a signing bonus.
That's amazing.
Because my friend worked for Rob and said Rob paid astronomical rates.
Yeah, like I said,
thus my friend will never speak badly about Rob.
I don't like the dude that much, but I do respect what he's done with the industry, in the industry, and for the industry, and for other creators. I respect.
Well, that's why I hear people bash Neil Adams, and I'm like, well, Neil Adams deserves to be a dick because he fought to get Schuster and Siegel their money for Superman.
Yeah.
He got artists their art returned, so they have the ability to sell them on an aftermarket.
Mm-hmm.
So he did a lot for artist rights. He also fought for better paper.
Yep.
So, like, Neil Adams, he could be a dick. Like, he walked into get a job at Archie, of all places, and Kirby and Joe Simon were like, kid, the industry is going to be gone in a month. Go somewhere else.
Oh my God, you imagine that. Where the industry is right now. And where it was when I started collecting comic books when I was growing up in the 90s, where it was and where it is right now.
It's crazy. Like, and again, like, if I went back in time and told myself as a kid that, hey, there's going to be a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, I would have fucking laughed in your face. Like,
dude,
and it was gonna be successful.
Dude, it's not that there was gonna be a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. It's that there's going to be a good Guardians of the Galaxy movie or any good superhero movie, because you know that back then they were very scarce.
Oh, the Incredible Hulk Thor movies. Those Incredible Hulk movies where there was Daredevil, there was Thor,
like, Daredevil dressing black.
That terrible Captain America movie, and like
rubber ears.
There was a lot of bullshit. The Nick Fury with David Hasselhoff,
the Fantastic Four that never came out. So we're actually very. That's why I get angry when I hear some people complain about some of these movies. Like, dude, you're entitled little shit. I grew up in an era. This is back in my day. We didn't have shit.
And look, if Blade
I'm just grateful that we get it.
And honestly, if Blade didn't succeed, that's it. It's
over.
Yeah.
Of all the things, if it was Blade who put movies in the
Blade and X-Men, because I don't know if we ever would have gotten that Spider-Man movie.
That's true. That is true.
But yeah, for Blade of all fucking things,
Blade of all characters, it was Blade. I love it though. I love it.
Oh yeah, no, it's a great movie, but I just remember like it came out and I was like, well, this is gonna suck. And then I sat down and I was like, hey, I did
the same thing. I waited. I didn't even went to the theater to see it. I waited and I just rented it. I was like,
same.
Damn it. I was like, damn it, this was actually pretty cool.
And then the X-Men movie came out, and I did the same shit. I went to a midnight showing. I was like, well, this is gonna fucking suck. And that came out. I was like, all right, like it's good.
I like that one. That first one was really good.
Yeah, like,
and the second one was really good. The
second one was really good.
And the third one was like, But enough about movies, because then we're gonna be here 2 more hours talking about movies.
Yeah, we're hitting 10:30. It's been 2 hours.
It's been 2 hours.
4 minutes. So not seeing a lot of viewers on this, but I actually just feel good talking about comics and why we like them. And yeah, we went off topic a little bit.
It's okay.
So Lobo disappeared for almost a decade.
Yes.
If you total the years, there's about a decade of dead space of dead. It's true. Like, I think as DC knew, we overdid it. You can't oversaturate the market with them. You have to make it an event. And to be honest, with death metal, when you find out, hey, Lobo is involved in this, it's like, well, shit.
Yeah.
Well, I have to look at this. And then they have him go against Frazetta Batman, which him calling it out, going like, Batman's got a cod piece. It's Frazetta Batman.
I like that. There's a variant cover in that series that it's Lobo standing alone on top of a hill, and it's
like. And then 52 is the only other time before that where we saw Lobo for quite a while. Like, so they're making him an event character.
Yeah, like I said earlier, it's a character that I think it works best when it's a mini series and one shots, because you can. I don't know about you, but I can get saturated of overly exaggerated, violent, grotesque. It's like, okay, I'm done with that. That's why I can watch like 3 episodes of Death Clock and I have to change it.
Oh god, I'd love to see Lobo and Metalocalypse.
Dude, for real now, there's a
Nathan Explosion versus Lobo.
Oh my god. Shit, that's my next drawing. let me write that down.
For anybody who hasn't watched Metalocalypse, if you have liked metal at any point, they spoof on this shit crazily. Dr. Roxo is forever my favorite character because I know they're spoofing David Lee Roth, and that makes me laugh even more. That his name is Arnold Rothstein.
That's insane.
And he likes cocaine.
That series. That series is that show was really crazy. And Lobo is a character that would
very much
work well in a show like that.
Off topic, but favorite Metalocalypse episode.
Oh man, I don't know. That's a difficult one because I love all of those. I like all of them. I think the Duncan Hughes coffee jingle is the one that
was, for me, it's when they're making fun of Metallica's Symphony one, the Death Harmonic.
Oh yes. And I think the coffee one is the first episode.
That might be.
I think the coffee one.
I love Dr. Roxo is a favorite. When he goes into rehab. I do cocaine. There's a couple of good ones. The Murder Face Toki side band that failed was great.
Oh, Snakes Battles or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like Guns N' Roses.
Yes. Oh, it was Snakes and Barrels.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a ridiculous series. And just, I love Murder Face.
That's what I imagine that's going through this dude's head all the time, or Lobo's head all the time. Like what you see in that series, that's what's constantly playing in his head, aside from the music that's constantly playing in his head.
And low-key, the Metalocalypse Death Clock album they put out.
Which one?
The first album.
Oh, yeah.
Is really good.
All 3 of them are really good. And the ones that are not called Death Clock, the one that's called Galacticon 2, the second one, because the first one, although it's Brenton Small too, the second one is the one that's considered to be the 4th Death Clock album, although it's not called Death Clock. That's the one that has My Name is Murder Oh my god, I'm ranting now. Sorry.
Death Harmonic, Mermaider.
Yeah.
Go forth and die.
Go for that. I Ejaculate Fire is one of my favorite songs.
I love that show. It's the most I watch.
It's insane. That's insane.
It's not on HBO Max, but I'm sure it's on the Cartoon Network.
It's not. I think it is.
It might be. But
I think it is.
Go find if you like metal in any way or just want to make fun of metal because it's a parody.
You can make fun of metal. That's not frowned upon. Please do make fun of metal.
It's great. Like, just go check it out. And it falls right in line with Lobo because this is shit that, like, if Lobo did a metal album, I'm sure it would be.
It would be. Oh, there's issue 13 of the series is Lobo sliding with a guitar playing a solo in the cover.
See, I feel like he'd have the double guitar, the double neck,
the
heart.
Yes. No, he was playing a Flying V, I think is the one that he's playing.
Of course he would.
It's a really cool cover.
I'm sure
one of those. It was one of those covers that when I saw it on the show, I was like, God damn it. I have to buy my Uncanny X-Men issue. I can't buy this,
Which is funny because we had to do those mental gymnastics back then because, like, I was using my lunch money and not eating lunch at school and using that money to buy comics. So it was like, all right, like, this Death of Superman book's coming out and that's like $3. Like, what am I going to do?
$175.
Oh, no, it was $5.95.
Really? Was it that expensive?
I think it was $5.95.
Damn. Dude, I used to use the same thing, my lunch money, and I used to get $2 a day for my lunch money and for public transportation. Okay, so I had the good thing is that the one thing that Puerto Rico is good about was that lunch and breakfast in school for students is free.
Oh,
so I would go to school and I had lunch for free and I would have breakfast for free. So I could save and then I would spend $1 on my transportation to go back and forth to school, and I would save that $1 to go on Saturdays to the comic book store and buy my Uncanny X-Men or X-Men issue that was out that week.
Which it's funny, like how you can live in one place and one thing is better than the other, and then you go to another place and everywhere you go, there's something better than where you were, but the whole mix of it just isn't.
Yes, exactly. Exactly like that.
Canada, when I was in Toronto, their public transportation was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, even for when there's blizzards, the whole underground, you can go and get around the whole city underground without being out in the snow.
Beautiful.
Like, it was brilliant, but like, it's just weird how there's just certain things everywhere you travel where you're like, oh, this is way better than where I'm at, even state to state. So like Atlanta, you can get on the MARTA.
Yeah, and so everything about the government in Puerto Rico is shit. Everything about the government in Puerto Rico is shit, except that schools have free lunch and free breakfast for their students. And it wasn't pizza or frozen stuff. It was cooked there. It was cooked before when you were going to the lunch cafeteria. It was fresh food, recently cooked. It wasn't leftovers. It wasn't frozen stuff. It was homemade stuff, except when there was no water and you had to eat pineapple and crackers. Wow. But it was usually very good lunch, rice, beans. It was chicken or pork or any other, it was really good lunch, really good food. So that's how I could afford to buy comic books back then. I like $5 a week to buy comic books.
What was the plantain kind of thing? What?
Maduro?
No. Oh God, what?
Platanutre.
Is that what it is?
Tostones.
Tostones. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So delicious. Just say, just are delicious.
There's a guy, Humberto Gonzalez. He does the Heroic Hollywood and the rap. Who does all the superhero stuff? He's always like going on about Tostones when they're good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, they can be bad. You can get really bad tostones, but that's really rare that it happens. But it can happen, so be advised.
So we're edging to the 2.5 hour mark, and if it seems like we're ranting, like Gambit and I haven't really talked in 3 months.
Yeah.
So,
If it seems like we're ranting, it's because we are ranting right now.
yeah, like we haven't really talked in 3 months or seen each other, so it's just kind of going on and on.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
God, I fucking hate that song.
Me too.
And then the dude's like a right wing like country singer. True story.
I can't. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna.
Anyway, thank you for everybody who tuned in and may tune in later. This is a show based on love. I'm kind of a tourist when it comes to Lobo compared to Gambit, but I'm pretty well versed because I was a '90s kid.
Right? It was everywhere in the '90s.
And also, like, again, Superman the Animated Series, he was in it a couple episodes. And I also got the bad news that HBO Max is losing Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. They're taking them off.
Really?
The two best series.
I'm so happy that I have them on DVD and Blu-ray.
Same here. Which also Amazon had them on sale, especially the Batman the Animated Series. I got for $40.
Yes.
2 years ago, and best purchase I've made, especially since it came with the movies. Yes. Also, the Superman the Animated Series, especially the Krypton episodes at the beginning, were phenomenal.
Oh man!
But Paul Dini helped write them, and Paul Dini is an amazing writer.
Yes.
And he wrote a book about him getting mugged.
Oh, the
Dark Knight, or I forget what it's called, but it is a truly horrific story about him dealing with his trauma of being mugged and beaten and hospitalized.
Yep. I did not know any of that. I learned that when that book came out. I was like,
I knew it from a Kevin Smith podcast where he talked about it because he had just won an award that night for writing Batman.
Oh, look at that.
Which is kind of crazy. And he married a magician who is a pretty famous magician, Misty Lee, that he based some of his Zatanna work on.
Well, fuck yeah.
Yeah, because he joked he basically married Zatanna.
That's not Loki.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for tuning in, and we will catch you next time that we go live.
Yeah, to be determined, but we will do it again.
Bye.